Hey guys, so as I mentioned, the last skill that we need to learn in order to create our soil moisture sensor is how to create a variable. In coding, variables can be used to store code or information for future use. That way, you don't have to write it out every single time you want to use it. So for instance, let's look back at the code where we wrote our temperature graph. What if we want to display the temperature here in Fahrenheit instead of in Celsius? Well, there isn't a block for that on the MakeCode website. However, we can use math blocks to convert the temperature in Celsius to Fahrenheit using the equation I have here. Fahrenheit is equal to degrees Celsius times 1.8 plus 32. But if I was trying to convert Celsius in multiple areas of my code, that is a lot of math to do every single time. So instead, to save time, what we can do is we can set up a variable for Fahrenheit. So to do that, I'm going to go under the variables block and make a variable. The first time you click on this, there's not going to be any variables already made. So make a variable, and then I'm going to label it Fahrenheit. And then when I'm done, I will click on OK. And then this set Fahrenheit to block will allow me to change Fahrenheit to be equal to either a number or some sort of equation, which is perfect because then it will let me convert my degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit using the equation we have here. So I'm going to drag this block under the forever, and I'm going to make sure to stick it on top. That way the MakeCode website knows that this is the first part of the code that needs to be read. Next, I'm going to use math blocks so I could set up that equation. It is important to note that the order of operation will matter when using these parentheses blocks here. So make sure that they're in the right correct position. Next, I'm going to go with this part of the parentheses first, Celsius times 1.8. So I'm going to go input, temperature in degrees Celsius. I'm going to change this to a multiplication sign, and then 1.8. And then lastly, plus 32. So now what I can do is I can use this Fahrenheit variable. So anywhere that I had a temperature Celsius before can now be read in the temperature as in Fahrenheit. So to do that, I will take my variables, look for the round Fahrenheit block, and I will replace the temperature Celsius. So I will delete that and drag over a Fahrenheit. One more thing to note is that now your bar graph or your chart has changed to reflect the Fahrenheit value. And since Celsius and Fahrenheit are pretty different numerically, you're also going to have to change this value here. So I'm going to want it to plot up to 100 degrees Fahrenheit. So that will make it so that we can read our graph a little bit more accurately. And that's about it there. The only thing that I will recommend is if you cannot find any of these blocks, remember to search for those blocks up here in the search function. So now that you saw how we can set up a new variable that converts temperature in Celsius into temperature in Fahrenheit, you have one final challenge. See if you can substitute your variable in your code so that when you push button A, it shows the temperature in Fahrenheit.